Hello folks, welcome back to Feldy. We're kind of just looking around here this afternoon. We got to get him going cultivating again. Now let's see if we can do this without it going wonky on us. Oh, very, very good. Let's go back here to our combine. Get him going. Continue our barley harvest. Looks like it's nicely continuing up the hill here. Go back to our trailer. You know, the last actually, let me get out of it. The last episode that we had, I was kind of bellyaching about the fuel consumption, and when I went out and looked at the mods that I have in, it turns out there are 4 of them that impact fuel, and maybe we can just go see those here real quick. Let me see. This is in the mods folder. The first one that I noticed is called, where is it? Maybe it's up on top. Fuel adjust. Okay, fuel adjust. What does it do? Well, it changes the price of fuel, and this one has fuel usage when you're in idle. And apparently the intent is, first off, you're going to pay $4.25 per unit of fuel. It says in here per gallon. That is a misnomer. Everything in fuel is counted in terms of liters. So this is $4.25 or $4.25 per liter. And then the idle usage of fuel is going to be at 25% of what it would otherwise be if it was under load. So you look at some of the code in here, what the modder chose to do that we see in here, it's similar to what I described in the last one. Here in the Lua code, he took motorized update, and this one here, I just happened to mention this function. I chose in the vehicle camera, I chose to use overridden function. This fella is using appended function, meaning this all comes after what goes on in motorized update. And what is motorized update? Well, I have it over here. This is Farm Sim 11. Motorized update, what does it do? Well, if you're refueling and if your motor is started, that's really the 2 activities that it's taking care of. An update. An update, by the way, is something that happens every frame. I think this DT maybe is the frame number that it's on, but in short, this is happening over and over and over with rapidity throughout the game. So when you want stuff to happen a lot or to check on things a lot, you put it in update. Anyways, what he has over here, it's kind of clever. Self-do refuel. What he is doing, he's saying false. So anytime you're refueling a vehicle, don't use the regular refuel, because then it's going to come over here and it's going to use do refuel here. So he's saying ignore what shows up here and instead do refuel to do it over here. So when you're refueling, what he's forcing here is his variables, where he has fuel price per gallon, he puts that in here, versus the one that is used over here, which is G, fuel price per liter. And I looked this up, and come to find out the in-game cost per liter of fuel is 0.7. So we have a substantial increase in the price per gallon of fuel or per unit of fuel that we're being charged. So we are getting rated. Our coffers rated for the cost of fuel. We could change it if we wanted, but I mean, that is one thing that he did. And then the 25%, here's where I think we can find a small error in the mod. He intended 25%, which is a 25 out of 100, as he says here would be 25%. But we see his actual percentage is 25 over 1,000. So rather than 25%, he actually has 2.5%, which frankly is probably closer to reality than 25%. I don't know that a vehicle in idle uses 25% of what it would when it's under load. But anyway, just kind of interesting to see how he did it in here. He added his own function to do some rounding. The one in here that maybe doesn't belong is this one up here, the prerequisite present. I know he's trying to check for motorized vehicles, but really, I mean, if we were to delete this out, I think it would still work fine, because this here is appending whatever is showing up in here wherever motorized update appears. So I don't think there's any need to look for the motorized specialization. I think that's already taken care of down here. But anyway, just my two cents on it. There's 3 others. Let me go back in game briefly so we gotta probably go unload a combine now. Yep. And there's another fuel one that is impacting us when we drive this full of material, that also is costing us in fuel. But probably the biggest benefit here that I'm seeing is just turning the thing off, when it isn't being used. All right, we're full enough. We're gonna head down over the hill and take this to market. Oh, and here we see that our humble cultivator guy has ceased working. He kind of ran up to the corner. Yeah, this is where the hired help, well, I'm not even sure that the guys in the new game would figure that out either, to be fair. He just gets to the end of the route there and doesn't know where to go. So maybe Courseplay would do it, but in this version of the game, Courseplay was brand new. I don't think we had anything like it in Farm Sim 09, its predecessor. Well, I guess there was something called Path Tractor, but very much rudimentary compared to what it would become in later versions. So I don't even know if it's able to cultivate or set up a pattern to cultivate a field or not. So we may be just stuck with using the regular hired workers. Taking it to market, and while I'm here, I'm just going to load it up. It's going to cost an arm and a leg, but it is what it is. And you know what? Why don't I repay my debts? There is no point, paying interest if I don't have to. So we just took care of our debt. That took care of our cash. I think what we purchased and used the debt for was a Bowser for fuel. So that was a handy purchase to help keep our vehicles full of fuel. I would just as soon not pay interest unless we have to. So I'd like to earn a little money, and we can go get, I think in the last episode we talked about getting a potato or a root harvester. I think it's only $25,000, so that seems an extra logical purchase. But kind of like I mentioned, I want to leave the fields with these windrows. Per adventure, we can get a baler and take care of it that way and have a little extra revenue selling the bales. But I know the baler in here costs $95,000 if I recall correctly, and the bale accumulator, bale trailer to handle them all is another $50, give or take. So we'll just have to be careful how we spend our hard-earned cash. Let me bail out of there. I'm going to head over here and get him going again. I'm kind of curious. Oh, yeah, he's leaving little bits. What a... I don't even know if these little bits matter. I may be costing myself more in fuel just to come along here and do this than is worth it. But I'll hit it anyhow. Gotta take care of these triangle pieces. See, I kind of think in the newer versions of Farming Sim, when you hire someone, that they wouldn't leave these triangles, but I guess I don't know. Oh, that is terrible. Oh, that is awful. I can't even hardly see. Yeah, I think really what I need to do is make another edit of the map. I know I've done a number of them just to smooth that off a little bit. I know one key feature of this map is, of course, the hills. It's very hilly, but that's almost too much. Just looking along this edge. In real life, maybe you'd farm that. I don't know. I'm just tired of my camera bobbing up and down. Let me see here. Alright, he's going to go the same route that he had before. Maybe that's enough for him to turn around. Let me just check this real quick. Yeah, I can tell my harvester is still moving up there. We've already harvested a major chunk of... There we go. Now we can see it up there on the hillside. Let me just make sure he can turn around here. That may still be enough that he isn't going to want to turn around. How much you want to bet that he doesn't turn around? We'll see just how good Farm Sim 11 was. Go past the line. Good boy, good boy. Look at that. I told you he'd turn around. Let me get out. Oops, he's going to stop. I don't want him to stop. Let me get over here by this. Actually, I'm probably going to need to go empty the combine pretty soon. Is he already searching for... You know what? Maybe I'll just head on up there to go offload him, because he's probably close. You know, it's a unique map. It's a hilly map, but the fields, well, I suppose for a standard-sized map, they're on par. But I think I've mentioned in some of my other videos, not the ones for Feldy, but my general preference is larger maps, so I'm used to fields taking way longer to harvest. Actually, you know what? There's no... on the wrong one. Alright, he's got a little ways to go. So, run back here so he's ready to go. And I'll take you out just to show. We talked about this fuel adjust. Another mod that is in here is called Fuel Usage Combine. So this one here is similar to the other, although I believe this is a specialization that is added to every single combine. I didn't look in there, but unlike this one, which simply modifies the motorized script, this one here has its own specialization, so it's processing its own update. It isn't overriding or appending any function, but it says, hey, when we're in update, when the unit is active and the motor is started, and if we're threshing, then we're going to cost ourselves a little bit more fuel. And it looks like 0.0001 times, was that kilometers per hour? Or wait, KMN math. So I think when it's at a certain speed, a certain movement, if you will, in game, while it's threshing, it's going to cost more. Ditto with fuel usage for plowing and cultivating. So when the tractor's under load, plowing or cultivating, you see similar looking code here. And so I wonder if the same modder did it on both. But when it's under load, if it's plowing, has contact with the ground, or cultivating, one of the two, it's going to cost a little bit more fuel. And so it calculates it similar to how it calculated on the combine. And then we have one other one that is specific to trailers, and I don't know who wrote this one. They all seem to be working in harmony. They're not really fighting each other. They're doing different things. But this one says, hey, if you're pulling trailers and the fill level is over a certain level, it's going to cost more fuel. And it's interesting how it is in here. The fuller you fill it, you know, I kind of think the script author intended that if you're above 2,000 but under 4,000, here's the additional fuel cost. And if you're above 4,000, meaning your trailer holds more than 4,000, but you're under 8, well then here's the cost of fuel. But that isn't how this is going to work. You know, just looking at it here, it's going to cycle through every single one of these. So I'm telling you, when you have a trailer full that is more than 12,000, like the trailer load that we just took in, you are going to be using a boatload of fuel. You know, because it's going to start here, it's going to take 0.02, then 0.03, because every single one of these, when you have a full trailer, is going to be above these targets. So you're going to end up using 0.02, 0.03, 0.04, 0.005. All of them added together is the fuel that you're going to be using. So it's almost kind of like an exponential scale. And maybe that's how the power works in real life. I really couldn't tell you. I don't know how engines use fuel or whatever, but it's just kind of interesting looking how this was set up. This mod here, I may come in and tweak. Like I say, I can't prove it, but probably the mod author intended that, you know, when it's more than 2,000 but under 4,000, then do this. And I think so simply all we need to do is if self-fill level is greater than 2,000 and self-fill level is less than 4,000, then do this. And then down here, be greater than 4, less than 8, and so forth. That way, you know, if you have 10,000 in there, it's going to skip this, and it's going to come to here, and this will be the cost. And so it won't be additive. So after I get through this session, I think that is one change I'm going to make, because it's just costing me a lot of fuel. What can I say? I don't mean to be a skinflint, but it is kind of annoying to have to change fuel all the time. Maybe about as annoying as it looks to drive over the top of the crop. So here we see our fill levels hitting 2, 4. Now we're going to get up to 8. And in one fell swoop, you know, we are costing ourselves a ton more fuel now that we have that there. And I wonder if it impacts also the fuel that is used when we're in idle. That part I don't know. You know, whether, well, we can probably just check here real quick, because this is when it's in idle. No, that's just, okay, is motor started? If it's 0, fuel usage. So if we got this one over here, that'd be this one. It's... No, I don't see fuel usage over here, so maybe it is independent. So just because we have a full trailer doesn't mean our idle fuel usage is going up. Maybe. You know, I'm wondering if we can look down over the hill. Okay, I think I see some dust down there. I know our tractor is still working. We're just kind of waiting up here until our combine gets through so we can haul another load. And once again, my goal at the moment is to earn money by... How much money do we have? We have 19 grand. Not a whole whale of a lot. 19 grand in the bank, but we need to purchase a root harvester. And if we just hop in here real quick, let's see what the root harvester costs. The Bolco, 25. Well, we're close. So as soon as we get over 25, we could probably purchase one of those, and then I'm gonna have to figure out how to run that silly thing. It's been quite a while, I think. It just harvests it. It's a pretty slow process, so I may do some of that off cam to get through the field, and I think it dumps it out of the trailer here into, or excuse me, out of the unit here into the trailer. And yeah, I think it's pretty simple. Then we should be able to harvest all of our root crops, hopefully earn even more money. Maybe eventually get a hold of this baler, the bales, and all with the goal, of course, of I'll be still going back and forth, all with the goal of fulfilling mission number 2, which, as you may recall, is to haul some feed and water to the sheep so that they can produce wool. And the wool we can take to market too. That's also something we can haul off to earn some money. But we do need to keep a certain amount of wool over there in storage, if you will, so that we can open up the 3rd mission, which is Kelp Island, I think, down there. So the goal right now is to open Kelp Island. We just have to take a kind of a roundabout way of getting there, and we've got to earn a little money while we're at it here. It isn't totally about missions. We also have to earn our keep to make sure we get the bills paid and get the equipment that we need. Because Farmer Yip is usually pretty generous in what he starts off a map with, but here he wants us to work for it a little bit, and we already had to work for it, just by getting the tractor and a trailer unit out of the quarry. You may recall that we had to fill in a hole just to drive it out of the air, and that's one of our tractors. We got the other tractor down there running the cultivator, and this one here hauling product from the combine. So I think we can make it. We got a lot of combining to do just to earn some money, so that's kind of what the goal is. And it's just cost, I maybe should see what kind of fuel my combine has in it. Make sure because it seems to me the tractor goes through it. Nope, not that one. Yeah, we're still doing pretty well with the combine. We know that it's using it, but it doesn't seem to be using it as fast a rate. Or some of that may be an optical illusion, because the combine just has a much larger fuel tank in it. But I do have to say, too, I'm pleased at... Oh, you know something? That's going at 8 miles an hour. That's a fast harvester. We would never combine that fast in real life, unless it's really thin. But I am pleased at, I set it up using the compass here, going back and forth, and it looks like it's done a pretty decent job. It's done a pretty decent job finishing the field. I've commented previously on the Giants. With the hired help, it's something they've improved. But I know back in the day, it was always a tricky thing to try to hire a field to be harvested, done, whatever, and get them to do the whole field without having to come back and check on it. Kind of like we did with our tractor a little bit ago, way down over the hill. We had to restart it because it kind of got caught in a corner. I think in another episode, the combine got caught, and so we had to restart it. But there are certain tricks where this one here, I think it'll end up finishing most of the field without having to restart it. Although the shape of this field, yeah, well, we'll see. It should do okay. And here next door, I think those are potatoes that we see, or wait a minute, are those peas? Maybe those are peas. So those I think I need to windrow and either bale or take as feeds. It's those that I need to haul up to the sheep. And clear off in the distance over here. This is, I think, a field of sugar beets. And oh brother, it's going to take a while to harvest. But we should be able to make some pretty decent money, I think, on it too. Actually, let me check out the prices for potatoes. No, the prices don't look particularly the best, at 400, but I think the yield is where we make it up. There's just a lot of product. We kind of cycle through this. We're taking the barley down to... Oh, shoot, I shouldn't be taking it to... All right, well, we're going to change the course there. We see that the brewery has a higher price for the barley. Oh, blimey, I should have been taking that over to the brewery versus the mill. Okay, my bad. I was just assuming the mill had the higher prices of the two. I will rectify that immediately. You know, one other thing that I didn't mention on the vehicle camera. We notice here we're at the side of the combine. Let me switch over to another vehicle real quick. To there. Now let me switch back. Oops. Wrong way. And you see we're still at the side. Until I fixed it, it would always put you back to orientation right about here, which kind of always annoyed me. You know, if I scroll out, I tend to like looking at the landscape a lot in my style of play versus being up close to the machines. So I would be constantly zooming back out again. So I fixed the camera so that it remembers the zoom, it remembers the position of the camera as you tab between vehicles. This way you don't have to redo that every single time. But I think now I need to switch over to, oops, let me go back. Switch over to my tractor here and get ready to offload. Come in here and get a load. I think we're almost to the end of our time, but I'm going to sneak down over the hill, this time to the brewery, and hopefully earn some better profits. Then, like I say, when this episode is done, I'm going to make some modifications to the fuel adjustment mod for hauling trailers. Because it is just running through the fuel, we can just tell. Oh, this is probably going to be bumpy. Oh, not too bad. Alright, I'll try to get in the left lane, because I'm in Scotland. Head down the hill. And I think going back to this vehicle camera, you know, I think it is sensitive to the slope of the underlying ground. So it tries to, you can see kind of how it's adjusting. I don't know. Maybe some would look at this and say, hey, they prefer Farm Sim 11 functioning just as it is. Oh, get out of the bushes. Oh, my word, this thing is drinking so much fuel. Yeah, I'm kind of glad I discovered that. I'm going to go fix the script so that it's a little less generous on how much of my money and fuel it's going to go through. I do like the concept, though. I mean, because it's true. The heavier the load you haul, the more fuel it's going to take to do it. That all is true. And when you're ditto with the other scripts, you just don't use as much fuel when you're in idle, and yeah, you just don't use as much fuel when you're not under load. Alright, we'll head back out to the field here. Look at that, I got about 99 gallons. Yeah, see, I gotta fix something in here with the vehicle camera. It works okay on the outside, or marginally okay, but on the inside, it's fighting with something in here, and I'm not sure what it is. So that's something. On the other hand, I don't use the interior camera that often, because like I say, my preference for playing is to be able to see the scenery and to see the machinery moving in the scenery. That's interesting. You know, it's everybody has their own style. I know there's some people, for the immersion, they like being on the inside camera. I generally like being on the exterior. Just kind of my preference. So you notice 99, it took only a couple gallons to get up the hill. It's Saved by the Bell. Let me see. I probably should go. Yeah, combine's doing great. kind of going to cycle through all this again. Alright, so he's done with the field, such as he's going to do. So let me just catch up the little bits that he didn't do, and we're going to call this episode a wrap. Much to everyone's delight, I am sure. That'd be nice if you took care of these little last little anglies in the field, or whatever you call them. Oh, I didn't want to do that. How did it get there? Turn number pad percent. No, it's a number. It's the slash. Okay, I just took a bite out of the corner of the field. I must have hit slash accidentally. Don't know how that happened, but it did. Alright, so I think we've cultivated everything we really want to cultivate down here. I'm just going to get it out so I don't waste any more fuel. And I'm going to let everybody go for now, and we will see you on the next one. Thank you so much for coming by to share some of your time with me.